Hello and welcome. We are at the Women Deliver 2016 conference in Copenhagen to explore how best to improve the welfare of women and girls across the world. I'm Ridi Kabi. Today in the studio, I have with me Dr. Willie Parker. Dr. Parker is both a devout Christian and one of only 2 doctors performing abortions in Mississippi in the United States. He joins us now. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Well, many Christians are opposed to abortion. Why not you?
Well, I look at my Christianity as a means to explore a deeper humanity. It's really easy to involve yourself in groupthink and to assume that the sacred text for Christianity, is the Bible, says what many people allege it says, but strangely, there's not a lot in the Bible about abortion, and so it leads me to conclude that I can look at abortion in the context of what is in the Bible, and that is a deeper call to compassionate action on behalf of other people.
Well, I read somewhere that you were inspired by the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I don't remember there being anything about abortion in I Have a Dream, but tell us how he inspired you and where.
Well, I was in the midst of wrestling with what it meant to be a women's health provider and to see women on a regular basis who had unplanned, unwanted pregnancies or wanted but lethally flawed ones. And for a long time, I would only refer them on. But once, while just contemplating what my role is as a women's health provider, I was listening to a sermon by Dr. King. In fact, his last sermon, which is the mountaintop sermon, where he describes what made the Good Samaritan good. In that sermon, Dr. King talks about the Samaritan who stopped to help someone alongside the road who had been attacked and robbed. Everyone else passed that person by and asked, what will happen to me if I stop? Dr. King said what made the Good Samaritan good was he reversed the question of concern, and instead of asking what will happen to me, he asked, what will happen to this person if I don't stop to help him? And that resonated deeply with me as a women's health provider. And as a Christian, to see someone in need, the question for me became, what is my role in responding to that need? And that liberated me to provide abortion care.
The popular narrative amongst those who are opposed to abortion, and I come from a country where that voice is really, really loud and getting more amplified by the day, is that abortion is murder. But how do you locate abortion within the wider context of reproductive health and reproductive rights?
Well, I think it's really easy to use inflammatory language and to conflate concepts. Abortion is the intentional disruption of a pregnancy. It is the ending of a life process. I never argue that it is not. But the term like murder implies personhood, and at least culturally, politically, and with regard to a scientific understanding, fetuses are not people. And so that's a very controversial statement. And so when people use terms like murder, it is to invoke an emotion from people that would say, of course murder is wrong. That's our social contract, that's our moral understanding. But to imply that a woman taking control of her life and her fertility and deciding to end a process that's occurring in her body, I just don't agree with the notion that that is murder. I think it is wrong to deny women the right to agency and to take care of themselves. And so I agree to just differ with people who hold that extreme view.
It also sounds to me as though you're saying there isn't a contestation, there isn't a conflict between faith and science, or is there?
I think Dr. King said it best. For me, as a person of faith, who was a person of faith before I became a scientist, Dr. King wrestled with those same tensions, and he said that science gives mankind knowledge, which is power. Religion gives mankind wisdom, which is control. The two are not enemies. And in fact, out of the religious understanding came our best scientists like Galileo and the like, who investigated the heavens and the firmaments, not to refute the notion of God, but to explain God's handiwork. So there is a false wall that is created when one has to understand the world in one way or the other. And for me, it was the intentional disruption of that false dichotomy between science and religion that empowered me as a scientist and a person of faith to become an abortion provider.
And gender power relations are often manifested or reflected in a conversation about abortion. I like very much what you said. You're encouraging men of faith to rethink their identity and root themselves in fairness and justice. What did you mean by that?
Well, I mean, if we use that same religious language of whom much is given is much required, whether you inherit it or you actively work to seek it, if you are a man and you hold power on the basis of patriarchy, you have a responsibility to deconstruct that power base that allows you to exploit or to disadvantage women, which are the other half of humanity. So, of whom much is given is much required, and as a man, inheriting power, whether I want it or not, it is my responsibility to deconstruct the things that would disadvantage women.
And finally, how can faith be a catalyst for a new social contract when it comes to reproductive and sexual rights for women and girls?
I think faith can be the vehicle, since we decide how we feel or the morality of things in our value institutions like churches, synagogues, and the like. I think it requires a new thinking and a new vision, a new theology, if you will, getting rid of the old wineskins to inhabit the new wine of fairness, equality, and justice. And I think that is what a deep religious understanding calls for. And in fact, one of my favorite passages says that pure and undefiled religion is this, that you visit the widows and the orphans and that you keep yourself uncontaminated by the world. And it struck me that the most essential test of authentic religion was how you treat women and children.
Well, I think you debunk the stereotypes in every way and causing very positive disruptions about the role of men and where we locate science and faith in our daily lives. Thank you so much, Dr. Parker, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on Women Deliver Live. Don't forget that you can tweet your comments and questions about this and our other shows using the hashtag WDLive. And don't forget, our Twitter handle is @WomenDeliver. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.